Hi, I'm Joseph Rodrigues, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a very specific element of the Time Tracking for Productivity webinar that I recorded last week. If you haven't had a chance to check out the webinar, I recommend you watch the replay, which is on this channel first, so that way this will make a lot more sense to you on what we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's get started. Today I want to talk about what specific time you should be tracking. So this video was created as a result of a question that I received from a student who took the speed reading workshop in Toronto and then watched the webinar, and his question was what specific time should you be tracking? Now he's speaking more in the context of at what level of time you should be tracking. So to explain this, let's move into, so in NLP there's chunking up and chunking down. So I'll explain to you what this is in a moment, and I'll tell you how it relates to time tracking. In NLP, chunking up refers to moving to more general or abstract pieces of information, while chunking down means moving to more specific or detailed information. So how this helps us is that in time tracking, the more specific you are, or the more chunked down you are with your time tracking, so the more detailed, the more specific elements of a task you're tracking, the more likely you're able to find where your inefficiencies are, and thus you can get the most out of tracking your time. Now when you start out, you're probably going to want to track at a higher level. So instead of tracking specific areas of the work that you do, you might just want to clock in and out of work just to see how much time you spend on work. So that's chunking it up. If we want to get the most out of time tracking, we're going to want to chunk down. And the level that we chunk down really depends on how detailed we want to be, how granular we want to get, and what level of efficiency we want to get to. So in the realm of time tracking, we can always find areas where we can improve. So we do this by chunking down. So let's go to an actual live example here. I have on my screen a mind map created with the Simple Mind application. So say you're starting out in time tracking. First thing you want to do is track your work. Okay, and this is provided you want to track work. You can do this with any type of task. I'm just using work as an example because it's a common one. So let's say I want to track work. So I'll clock in and out of work. Okay, so now I know after doing this for a week or so how much time I'm spending on work. So that's not going to really help me that much. It might help me a little bit, but the first thing I want to do is chunk this down. So I want to track specific elements to work. So what I'm going to want to track, and your work is going to be different than my work, but let's just say for the sake of simplicity that your work involved administration, projects, travel, and meetings. So now that I'm chunked down one level, I'm going to track administration, projects, travel, and meeting. So by doing this, I can find out how much time I'm spending on these specific tasks of work and where my inefficiencies lie. Now, after that, after I've been doing this for a week or so and refine the process, my work process, and I want to get even more efficient, I'm going to want to break this down even further. So I'm going to chunk it down. So under projects, I'm going to add project A, project B, and project C. Why? Because let's just say I was working on 3 projects. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to track how much time I spend on project A, project B, and project C, and again find my efficiencies and inefficiencies. But let's just say I want to move to another level. If I want to chunk it down even further to really understand where my time is going, I'm going to look at the sub-elements of project A and say project A has administration, travel, and meetings and work. I'm going to look at the sub-elements of all this stuff, track that, and if I want to get even more detailed, I'll track under work the design element of project A, the development element of project A, and the testing element of project A. And even with meetings, I could track how much time I'm spending with specific people. Now, this sounds like a lot of stuff, and this can keep going and going and going, and I'll tell you based on my experience, if you look at my hours tracker application, I've got multiple clocks running for multiple projects and multiple different specific aspects of certain projects, and it just really gets wild. But the thing is that I'm used to it. I acclimated. I at one point started at a very high level. I chunked it up all the way to work and then chunked it down into more detailed levels. Now, a big part of this is getting used to doing this. I mean, it's going to take you a while to get yourself into the habit of clocking in and out of tasks, and you know what? It can be a little annoying. But as I mentioned, time tracking is not for everyone. This is for somebody that really wants to get a grasp on their time, to know where it's going, and to be able to make educated decisions on where their time should and should not be going based on data. This is how we capture data with our time. This should give us a good understanding. So at some point, you can take this as a template and apply it to whatever it is you're tracking. At some point, you're going to find your inefficiencies. And you're going to find your inefficiencies. I'm going to make a very bold statement here and say you're going to find your inefficiencies a lot easier if you chunk down your time tracking. You track specific elements. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, there's chunking, our definition up on the screen. So I use chunking to help me determine what specific time I should be tracking. Again, with the objective of figuring out where my efficiencies and inefficiencies lie. Why? Because the more detailed, the more chunked down we can get, the more specific feedback, the more specific data we have to find out where our inefficiencies and our efficiencies lie. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about time tracking or chunking up, chunking down, or anything that I talked about in this video, go ahead and email me at joe@irisreading.com. Thank you for watching.